was the last time you played blind man's bluff? 30 years ago? 20 years ago? Or just a couple of hours ago? This is a film about wearing a blindfold and not even knowing it. So this looks like this. This looks like this. And this looks like this. What if you're wearing a blindfold already and just don't know it? When you're a child, playing blind man's bluff can be fun. When you're an adult, it can be deadly. There's an old saying that accidents happen, but they don't just happen. They happen when people don't spot or report hazards ahead of time. Hazard spotting is an essential part of every modern safety culture, and like any other skill, it takes practice to perfect. Nothing feels worse than seeing someone get hurt and knowing you saw a problem but did nothing because you never thought the worst would happen. That's what we mean by wearing a blindfold. Over the next few minutes, you're going to find out whether or not you're wearing a blindfold, as we show you a variety of hazards. Some will appear familiar, some won't. By now, you'll have your scorecard. You'll see 4 situations. Every time you spot a hazard, put a tick in the relevant column. It doesn't matter if some seem a bit unfamiliar, just score what you see. Watch carefully. Are your eyes open, or can you sometimes be blind to the dangers in your workplace? Here's situation 1. Here's situation 2. Here's situation 3. Here's situation 4. That's it. Ready for the count? Here's our first situation. This first one is a potential backbreaker. Heavy objects on a high shelf. What's more, the label says corrosive. So, where's his personal protective equipment? And if he needs an emergency shower, he won't be able to use it, because someone's put these in his way. Two hands on the container mean none for the handrail. And if there's an incident here, how would they get to the emergency button? This man's blind to the dangers of a wet floor. Maybe he thinks people will notice without the warning signs in place. But if they don't, he won't be the only one to slip up. Instead of using a trolley, he's carried it all this way. And leaving it there isn't only a slipping hazard if it leaks, but it's also a tripping hazard. Here's situation 2. One hand on the wheel, one eye on the road. If he gets caught, it's points on his license. If he doesn't, the consequences could be far worse. And by parking in an ambulance space, he may have saved a few seconds, but could have cost a life if there's an emergency that needs attending. Why can't he see his actions are unsafe? This is probably why. Why is she not looking where she's going? She could quite easily trip over the mats. She might as well be wearing a blindfold. In a few seconds he'll have some water, and by twisting his body and not lifting with his legs, quite possibly a back injury that could last forever. A trailing bag strap could lead to a tumble if he trips over it. He's got two hands, so why isn't one of them on the handrail? By propping this fire door open, everyone can get through it faster. And so can a fire if one breaks out. The door might as well not be there. Here's situation 3. Unlike her colleagues, this woman's blind to the danger of cuts when folding cardboard. Those plasters say she's hurt herself before, so why not wear gloves? By leaving pallets in the pedestrian walkway, someone's put a blindfold on everyone walking by, as the only way past means walking into the path of forklifts, with potentially lethal consequences. What makes it worse is the driver's got his eyes closed too. Or he might as well have. His load is raised so high he can't possibly see what's in front of him. A straight back is essential for any lifting tasks. By bending her back, this woman risks serious injury. Here's situation 4. Eye protection is always essential, as is putting a guard in place when working with metals. Why does he believe a flying piece of metal won't harm him? Haste? Bravado? Or does his blindfold make him not even see it? What's in this bottle? Acid? Cleaning fluid? Water? Who knows? That's why every container must be labelled and stored in line with legal guidelines. If you work with ladders at a doorway entrance, you need to cordon off the area. You need to warn nearby vehicles. Otherwise, you're just asking for a broken limb, or worse. In case of fire, people need to get out fast. An escape blocked by a heavy object can be disastrous. And when the object's a gas cylinder, the results can be explosive. He's smart enough to protect his ears, but not his hands or eyes. No gloves and no eye protection. Unfortunately, this isn't eye protection. How's your blindfold? On or off? You know the blindfold's off when you can see all this happening for yourself, before it happens. Unsafe behaviours. By now, you'll have some idea of how well you've done. Not all the situations you've seen are familiar, but they're all possible. They are, in fact, the most common causes of accidents in the workplace. Unsafe conditions and unsafe behaviours. There are dozens of reasons why we can be wearing blindfolds. Sometimes we don't spot a hazard because an unsafe practice has gone unchallenged for a while. Sometimes we think someone else is sorting the problem. Sometimes we're just too busy thinking of other things. But hazard spotting needs to become like a sixth sense, something you do instinctively every minute of the day. That way, the blindfold never slips back on. Best of all, the more you develop your ability to think ahead, the easier it is to take these skills home, to keep you and your family safe. And the harder you look, the safer you are. Remember, all hazards seem minor hazards until an accident happens, by which time it's just too late. As children, we can afford to play blind man's bluff. As adults, we just can't. That's why, if you insist on playing blind man's bluff, your bluff will be called. Accidents can be prevented. You can prevent them. Just take the blindfold off and keep it off. For life.